All right, guys, we are back. Although we need to actually fix that. Some of the logos. We have ourselves not FWC Esports and Luxurian Sun, but we got ourselves Band Manners facing off against Sean Kingston, and get that all fixed up there. Just waiting for Band Manners to ready up as well. Everyone is in the lobbies, so no sitting in waiting, which is always a nice treat. And we're doing it live, changing some images. Now we're going to kick things off on Volskaya Foundry. I think Volskaya is a great map, and there's a lot of different ways people can approach it. All right, just need to change some caps, and we'll be ready to go, I believe. And we can transition over to the corrected images, so everyone can not be inundated with wrong images, as that's hella important. Except I got some ultra small logos somehow for some of these. All right. Now on Volskaya, you definitely need long sustain because you're holding a point over an extended period of time, and without the appropriate sustain, you'll be going down like a sack of potatoes. Now, with enough sustain, where with enough burst, you can actually deal with a team that might be going for the sustain game. But early objective, that means, well, they're going to respawn and collapse on you. Like, that's pretty much guaranteed. The respawn times are so short that, okay, they're ready. Now, you can burst people out, but they're going to come back. But the beauty of Volskaya Foundry and the way it works is that if you're holding the actual point, it doesn't actually matter because you keep ticking upwards. It's not like Braxis's new mechanic where you can test it immediately and you neutralize it by just putting your body on there. And it's not like Dragonshire where if you're standing on it, you can hold the point long enough for your team to pick up the dragon in mid. But we got the draft starting on off. We'll see how these two teams go. I've pulled up some stats already for these two teams to see what kind of picks they actually have. We're going to see, so Sean Kingston has played quite a bit of Johanna, Malfurion, Li Ming, even Genji. I'm actually surprised by how often teams would let Genji through in Heroic. Now, that doesn't mean that they've necessarily executed and won every game with Genji, but it's still an interesting choice. So taking a look at some of the picks Bad Manners will have, they've played a lot of different heroes. I mean, the top heroes that they have only have 2 games on them, which means that they have a very large hero pool in comparison to some of their opponents, which is going to be hard then to actually ban out around them. They played Greymane, Jaina, Alexstrasza, Diablo, Artanis, and Li Ming. Those are all the 2 games they've gotten. What's interesting is their emphasis on someone like Greymane. Alexstrasza is definitely a map that makes sense for certain choices. So, for instance, they've played on Cursed Hollow, Volskaya, BOE, and Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that's a total of 6 games recorded in Stats of the Storm at this point in time. In a Volskaya, BOE, and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Now, BOE, I can see Alexstrasza. Tomb, not so much. Cursed, maybe. Volskaya, yes. So I'm not sure what's the breakdown there for their Alex Straza games, but it's definitely interesting that they've picked up Artanis in 2 of those games so far. Now, we're going to have Maev and Deckard as the first 2 picks on the side of Sean Kingston, which is a very powerful combination. They did give up Whitemane, who a lot of people will agree is quite potent. And I like the bands that we're going to see. We're going to see the Avatar band, so he's pretty powerful in general, especially on a larger map. The Asmodin band, I'm not really feeling. I feel a lot of teams overvalue him, and his performance in the competitive scene doesn't seem to pan out as teams get better and better. Urel is definitely a really solid ban. If you're not going to pick her up in this rotation, ban her out, which is what they opted to do. On the other side, they have the Diablo and the Phoenix. The Diablo is probably one of the most important heroes for warrior players nowadays, just because of how effective he is. And on this map, there's definitely quite a few areas for him to wallbang you, especially since you're walking into a point that has multiple walls for him to bang you into. And then there's the treadmill issue, which often allows Diablo to have much more time to line up his charges. And the Phoenix, well, Phoenix is always potent. And the typical combo of the Lightning Breath with the Phoenix to get the Ultra Purification Salvo combo. And you're going to see the Leo as their solo lane with a Jaina to follow up to give the permanent slows as well for the Phoenix. This is just adding up a ton of slow value. Leo, now, Leo to me falls off in the team fights, but in the bot lane, as long as Leo lands his drains, typically he wins against Blaze. In my experience in watching various matches, very rarely do I see Blaze win against Leo. It could also be just who I've been actually casting in the past, but normally I don't see quite the performance out of Blaze against Leo. Now, the big problem that I see for Sean Kingston is that they have a Li Ming. So the goal here is really to get the kill on Jaina or Phoenix, which then means that it's up to Maev to pull Jaina or Phoenix. And at the same time, Leo and Diablo are really going to be instrumental in keeping Maev and Li Ming from executing that, because that's a lot of bodies for Maev to have to get through. Diablo's big and beefy, can knock her around, overpower her. Leo can even slow her and potentially even entomb her if she doesn't have her trait ready to go. Now, Whitemane also slows, making it a little bit harder, but at the same time, if they go with something like Warden's Cage and lock in the Jaina, you can see all of a sudden reset city, because you'll have Johanna throwing out the Blessed Shield, Blaze getting potentially a nice stun, and finally, well, you can also have Deckard locking them all in, and with a Stay a While and Listen on top of that, you can totally interrupt the flow for bad manners. But I think the execution is going to be much harder for the side of Sean Kingston versus the side of bad manners, which this is a generally easier comp for them to execute on. So we'll be jumping on into the game right now. We got Dami on the Phoenix. We got Kina on the Whitemane. We got BCR player on the Diablo. A Rubber Duck on the Leoric. Stixa on the Jaina. And that is going to be bad manners. On the other side, we got Dean Trivy on the Li Ming. Mello is going to be on the Johanna. We'll have Mundane Zebra on the Maev. Wex on the Deckard Cain. And finally, Hellbent is going to be on the Blaze. And that's going to be Sean Kingston. So things are going to be kicking off with the typical footsie fight in mid. We're going to take a look and see what talents were chosen. And there's the root. Nice stun coming from Hellbent. And we got the tether, but no one's going to be picked up as a kill quite yet. A little bit of a trade onto Dami, but Hellbent actually takes the brood of it overall when it's all said and done. So the solo lane is actually going to be the bot lane this time. You'll see, depending on team and region, top lane or bot lane could be the solo lane. Nice job from Mello to ensure his team can rotate safely. A VCR player looking for that interruption, but not going to get it. And Mundane Zebra are very deep now, as he has Mello there to keep him nice and safe. Unfortunately, Dami is not going to be pulled very far thanks to that wall. So taking a look, we have the Arsenal Synergy, we got the Devil's Due, the Consume Vitality, and the Clemency. And we're actually going to see right now Hellbound is losing this 1v1, and he's going to be going down here. Not what you want to see in the solo lane, especially when he was so close to his actual wall to be able to get back in time. So Mundane Zebra will come down and hold this in the meantime. They have started their turrets in the meantime on bad manners, especially with that extra mana advantage. This becomes a very trivial affair for them to pick it up. Now, other side, we have a Bonds of Justice, a Scroll of Identify. We got the new habits, Force Armor, and Reinforce. Now, the big problem here for me is Force Armor. The reason I think that's a problem is you're ultimately scared of mostly Jaina as the Liu Ming. And without the Power Hungry, she's going to run out of mana much faster, and her actual total damage output is going to be much worse. And she's instrumental. Basically, they have to get the resets, and you drop 10% of your damage. It's a pretty big drop in your total damage output by not getting the Power Hungry and having a globe. And especially when you're so close to lanes for every objective, you literally rotate, get a globe, come back, and you're gotten yourself a large chunk of mana. So both teams, though, have turrets in tow. We have Hellbent back in bot lane. A Rubber Duck has pushed this very far forward, and he does have a ghastly reach instead of the typical Neil Peasants. And in the mid lane, they're actually going to pick up a kill while I'm telling you a little tale about the solo lane. And that's going to give him a little bit of an advantage. So I'm talking a little smack about not having Power Hungry, but it's not going to matter. The tether onto Dami, but he's going to pour it on out, and he'll be perfectly fine. BCR getting the knockback onto Mello. No Iron Skin available quite yet, but Mello's not actually too afraid yet. There goes Mundane going back in, and they're going to hold this point for a little bit. But they haven't actually started off quite as early as I'd like. Styx is now back already. They're going to start taking it up. Mello has tapped, and we got Wex tossing down some potions to keep him topped off. Orb coming on to VCR player. Not exactly who you want to necessarily target. Really, the damage is in the backline, and so you want to dissuade the backline from continuing to push forward, more so than dissuading Diablo from continuing to push forward. Because if his backline's not with him, it's not going to matter. Now, one thing I want to point out is this camp has gotten an okay value. It did force them to rotate up. They'll be hitting 7 here as well. So they gave up control of the objective, which is not exactly what you want to do, especially how this works. But this is not the worst thing in the world for Sean Kingston. They do have a turret ready to go, and they've actually backed on off for now. Now, VCR is going to back on off a little bit, but they really need to force him off or fully engage. There's the pullback. There's the charge. Rubber Duck coming on in. It gets the drain of life onto Mello. Mello's a little far forward, but has the Iron Skin available. Mundane will be able to get on out with that trade, but Mello will be going down. Doesn't matter how many potions he chugs, still going to die. And that is 2 members down. Third is not going to happen for him, and so they'll have to be satisfied with getting the Protector and getting themselves 2 kills. Now, they hesitated, I feel, a little bit on what to do against the Diablo. And by the time they actually decided to commit on the Diablo, Sean Kingston, the team had gotten in the turret, rotated up, and they had a double turret versus a single turret advantage. Oh, the triple? Only a double tether, but it's still going to get a little value, as remember, he has Bonds of Justice. Now, In the meantime, though, this protector's gotten a lot of value by being all alone without anyone there to deal with it. Mel pushing on in. They're looking for Stixa. He has no protector to help him. There's a slow into the root. Kina and Stixa trapped like rats. Mundane is looking for it, and they'll pick it up. Dean going ultra far. This is going to be a kill, though, onto Mello, and they get a little bit too aggressive there, and also don't peel back soon enough. But they do pick up a kill for kill. In the bot lane, we got Hellbent still going 1v1 against a Rubber Duck. And remember, he does have a new habits, which is going to reduce the cooldown of Pyromania every time he gets it. And he also gets Unstoppable available when he has Pyromania once he finishes the collection. At this point, the 10 vs 9 is going to be pretty hard for them to do much. They're going to have to play relatively safe. They need to ensure, even if they try to get this camp, that they have eyes, because they can invade for it on the side of bad manners, which is really what they should be doing right now. If you're not sure what to do, just go and take something, especially with your advantage. So that's what they started to do at this point. They've walked on over. Mundane all alone. He does have Wex coming in tow, but they're going to have to just give this up, which is good. You watched last night, we saw Luxuriant Sun taking a bunch of fights. Hellbent getting trapped into the Entomb. The Wombo combo. The Ring of Frost. The Planet Cracker. And he's been annihilated. Just a hair too far forward. And despite being just below the gate, or just behind it, they're still able to pick him up as a kill. Very nice execution. However, they are going to trade decently here by getting themselves 10. We do have the Warden's Cage, we have the Lornado, we have a Wave of Force, the Bunker, and still no choice for Mello on that Johanna. Now, Mundane getting some good positioning here, keeping some eyes. Mello in tow as well, so they can look for a bad rotation. Dean, oh, Stixa? Oh, Stixa? No, a little too early from Mundane, pulling the trigger. Just a hair too early. If they had waited maybe 10 to 20 seconds, Stixa may have actually rotated down. And Mundane throwing out his blank basically caused it to be, well, he just walks away and knows exactly what's going on. So they now have themselves a double turret, but we also do have the scroll of Identify completed, which is going to help a lot. It reveals them for a very long time, and it reduces their armor by 15, which is going to help a lot when you start spamming abilities like the pin down with the Bonds of Corruption. Mel pushing on forward. Mundane there, they'll clear this up fairly fast. Mel is going to be pulled on over, but it is just a 2v4, so they'll have to be a little bit careful here. They have no Will on the side of John Kingston, which is going to make this a much harder fight for him. They already picked up that siege camp as well, which has another 45 seconds before it respawns, so they're not going to have the counter push in the top while this is going. VCR player looking for it. Dean is a little too far on the side, and he'll be able to get on out. Mello will spank VCR with the wet noodle, ensuring that his team can retreat perfectly fine. The blind is going to fly on out from Mello, but they have no one up there with him. I mean, Hellbent is currently all alone, and it looks like they're opting to try to get 13 before they fight. Actually, they're just clearing up, waiting for Hellbent to rotate on up. So they're going to give up the position a little bit here. They do want to push this wave up to keep sight and try to force bad manners to fight in the wave. If a fight does actually break out. We got Mundane all the way in the backside. VCR, though, might be able to get an angle here. There's a stun onto a Rubber Duck, the Blizzard, but it's only going to hit one. Mundane coming on in with the Warden's Cage, bouncing around Kina, and they're looking to kill him. The Ring of Frost going to hit two, and the Bunker, but the APOC going to keep him from going anywhere with the Entomb as well. But it's a 1-for-1 right now. A Rubber Duck getting low. That's one more down, but the trade out. And they have Li Ming, who will be joining them shortly. So a 3-for-2 in favor of bad manners. Now, this is unfortunate for them. They do get the kill, but they also were fighting down on actual, You can see turrets, double turrets in that fight, and neither of them died, which means they got a lot of turret value during that fight. Now, overall, they're not doing poorly. They're falling behind, but really the big issue is going to be the 16 versus 15 and 14 situation that's assuredly about to happen for the side of Sean Kingston. A lot of damage about to come onto Dean. They're looking for Dami. There's the tether. He's still walking with him. The Entomb's going to come on out. Mundane does have the jump. Will avoid it temporarily. And the lure NATO from Wex is perfect, knocking a rubber duck away. And now Dami's getting chased on down. They're looking for it. He shouldn't have any port available. Kina dropping the Scarlet Aegis as well. But Kina is going to be going down. They got a little greedy, looking to get as much value out of this as possible. Dean trying to juke and jive, but will not be able to survive. And that is going to be a 1-for-1. And 16s are around the corner now for the side of Bad Manners. Mundane getting really low, will just be able to survive this. They need to just basically full back for the most part. He does tap. He does get another orb. Or sorry, another potion, trying to get as many stacks on the pin down as possible. Currently, unfortunately, only has 0, so not getting much value there. Mundane coming on in, does not have, there we go, has escaped. They execute Jaina, and VCR player has nowhere to go. The lure native going to keep him a lockdown temporarily, with Mello perfectly timing that iron skin, so VCR goes in for the charge, but Diablo now losing all his souls. So they don't get the keep, they do get the well, and this is actually great for Sean Kingston. They're now up 2 players because, if you will, oh no, Hellbent, they're rotating down to him. They're actually going to invade here. Hellbent might be a little early, but he does have the bunker. They're going to back on off. A rubber duck is coming in from the side, but doesn't realize where everyone is. There they go. Mundane Zebra should have tether, does grab it, pulls them on back. Mello is looking for the blessed shield, and there we go. Lord NATO still available to knock him back and taking him back. Wex carrying him back into the arms of Sean Kingston, and they will hit 16, get the kill, and they're looking for this camp now. Very, very nicely done from Sean Kingston. A lot of teams get an advantage and do not execute on it. And, well, they've just perfectly executed, like, well, we have a man advantage. What are we going to do? We're going to go and take a camp. And they overstayed on the side of Bad Manners. And when they overstayed, they got the kill on Kina. And now they have no support for another 5 seconds. They get themselves the double turrets, which at this point should really, really help them. And we still have no stacks on the pin down, but we do have 7 stacks on Bonds of Justice. So if he does finish this, this will help quite a bit. On the other side, we have 21 souls. And Diablo's trying to get that up. They should really try to kill him ASAP. There's the slow. They will get the root. Not in time. Oh, will they actually get in time? They're looking for it. Dami's going to be locked down there. We get the tether, but the Warden's Cage not going to be there. The APOC has come out, but they execute Phoenix, the Ring of Frost, but the bunker's there. And members of Bad Manners are falling left and right. Dean cleaning up on aisle 2 on the side. And Sean Kingston doesn't care if you get yourself a camp, because they're going to get themselves some kills. And VCR player is going to be number 4 for Sean Kingston. At this point, Sean Kingston is going to be multi-platinum, baby. Very, very good execution there from Sean Kingston. Coming on in, dropping the Warden's Cage, bouncing him around. They get the extra tether as well. And taking a look at where we're at, still 0 stacks on pin down. We also have the Bonds of Corruption as well, the Warden's Cage, the Shadow Armor, and the Vengeful Knives. So this is a much more interesting build than you typically see as well. And it makes sense because they have 2 heroes that are tanks. Getting this off, you get the extra health bonus as HP damage. They push on in, they take down the well now. So they have an advantage in the bot lane as they can go and tap. They're not going to be fighting a 20 versus 18 scenario. So Bad Manners is definitely in a very good position to come and fight this. They need to be careful on the side of Sean Kingston not to go too crazy here. They need to have all 5 members ready to go. But if they overcommit to this and lose too many people, then the game's pretty much over for either side. It's a little less worse. The Blizzard coming on down. There's the Entomb. APOC going to come on out. The bunker perfectly timed. Mellow trapped in the ring. Will not be able to get on into there, but they execute Jaina. That's 2 members down. Rubber Duck Kina all alone on an island, and the turret's going to be doing work. That's number 3 for Sean Kingston, and they're looking for Dami Trivi going on in, but should be perfectly fine. VCR still staying, looking for the booty of Lei Ming, going to smack it, but the stun, the root, and they're looking for VCR. Dami going to be taken on down, and Dean might be able to pick up another one here. They will not, but they are now going to get a protector, and they have 4 kills. We're going to look at that bad boy again. We're going to see Kina isolated there, completely isolated. And then at that point, VCR player sees Dean almost AFKing, waiting to feed. But then VCR overstays, overpowers Mellow, and then causes himself to basically get locked down, which is not the situation you really want. So at that point, they pick up the kills. They're now marching to get the first keep of the game. Hellbent going on in. A Rubber Duck isolated temporarily right now. But they do have bunker. And there is still Entomb. Entomb coming on out. But the bunker perfectly timed to avoid the shadow charge. And the old man, Decker Kane, getting credited with the kill on Stixa. So at this point, we had a major lag spike there. Protector still up and going, still pushing on in. A Rubber Duck almost going down. VCR going on in deep, and Mel's looking to pull him on back with that Condemn. And there goes the Protector, slapping some booties, clapping some cheeks, and there's the stun on VCR. They're looking to potentially end this game. They have 25 seconds without dealing with a Jaina. Kina's going to have to back on up after getting smacked. Scarlet Age is going to be used, and Mel's going to try his best to actually stop him from being aggressive. Both. Oh, Dean Trivi going to pick up the kill. So even if they don't actually get this, the APOC, Mello's still up and alive. They do have the indestructible, and they will actually finish this game off. 10% on the call, Aquarium falling, and GG as Sean Kingston makes a huge snowball back in the other direction.